Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of our EAFC 24 career mode. We return today kicking off season 8 of The Save, our second here in Turin, off the back of our Champions League victory with Juventus in the previous episode. Of course, we lost out to Napoli in the Coppa Italia final also in the previous episode, and of course finished runners-up in the Serie A. So we've got lots and lots of work to do to continue our rebuild of this Juventus team and push for some domestic success this season. So we've got quite a lot to get through, but the thing I'm going to start with is just having a look at some of our youth players, and we're actually going to just sort through here because I didn't actually show a huge amount of this during last season, but we did actually have quite a few players getting promoted to the youth team. So we're going to give some pro deals out and try and loan some of these guys out. If the potential's not there, then they're just going to be released, and I am going to be quite ruthless. So some of the guys will stay in the academy, like this guy, Tommaso Sala. I'm just going to keep in the academy whilst we sort of get a better range on the potential. Hugo will be promoted to the senior team, as well as Andrade. He looks very, very decent indeed. As for a few of the rest of these guys, Bianchi is going to be released as the potential's not quite as good as I first thought. Same with Santi Rodriguez, and I think for the rest of these guys, actually Manu Ponce is going to get released. The rest of these guys will stay in the academy for now, and I'm going to list all of the guys that I've just promoted to the loan list. And as we sim through to the second day of the month, we've seen quite a few of our youth players have gone out on loan. So we've got a couple of centre-backs here, Di Carvalho and I love this, Guido Ferrari, great name, going out on loan. Rui Barbosa, who actually featured a couple of times last season, also going out to Mayalbi, same as Di Carvalho, so quite like that. Valentini, who's a really good young Italian winger, heading out to Cosenza. And Nathan Jackson is also going to go out on loan for a year as well. So the rest of these guys are loan listed, and I'm sure we'll be able to get them all out on loan for the remainder of the campaign. I've also just offered out for first team contracts. So we've had Christian Romero, Weston McKennie, Ranocchia, and also Frankie de Jong all sign 1-year extensions at the club. All 4 of them have also taken wage cuts as well, which will help get the wage bill in order. So you'll be seeing those go through now. That leaves just Luca Di Andrea with 11 months left on his contract, and I'm actually going to go ahead and add him to the transfer list as he's not really needed at the club. So all of those players tied down to new deals. Luca added to the transfer list. And I'm pretty happy with the squad as a whole, because obviously we built this squad last season. So there are a few players that I want to bring in to, of course, take us to that next level and bolster us. But there's not going to be wholesale change like there was last season. Now, I briefly discussed at the end of the previous episode, the season finale, where I'd like to improve in this squad. And I definitely think that we need a centre-back. I'd like to bring in a dual-sided fullback and a winger as well. So I've got 3 sort of profiles of players that I'd like to bring in. We're looking a little bit short on the ground at the moment. And with those youth players heading out on loan as well, we do need to bring in a couple of other players to bolster the squad. Let's go and see how much money we've got to spend, because I actually haven't done that yet. I'm not expecting quite as much as we had last season, and it's going to be 102 million. So it's actually a little bit less than I thought we'd get. I thought it might be more towards the sort of 150 mark, but obviously we had a huge budget last year. I wasn't expecting the same at this campaign as well. And I'm actually going to go straight ahead and make my first signing as well, and it's more sort of out of nostalgia, this one. Paulo Dybala, former Juventus man, the Argentine, available on a free. He's 36 years of age. He's still got great sort of technical and mental stats in some areas, but yeah, he can barely run, 77 overall, and he's only going to continue decreasing. But on such a low wage, there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't bring him back to Juventus. Let's bring him in. So Paulo Dybala is back on a short 1-year deal, and it's good to bring him back to Juventus. Of course, he got that big move in, I think it was 2015. 15 for around 40 million euros to Juventus from Palermo. And I think he's one of those players in world football that everybody just loves. And he can't really run anymore in this career mode, but he's still got some good technical shooting, passing and dribbling stats. So I would like to try and use him at some stage in this season, maybe in the early rounds of the Coppa Italia and the Champions League group stage as well. And we brought back Dusan Vlahovic, we brought back Fede Chiesa, and Paulo Dybala is another fan favourite that we've brought back to the club. I'm actually going to go ahead and make another free agent signing here, and this one just makes perfect sense to me. Bernardo Silva, 35 years of age now, but still a fantastic player, 84 overall. And of course, he's lost a little bit of his pace, but he was never really a pacey player. He was one of those players who didn't need pace because he was so good on the ball and technically, and just what he sees is ridiculous. One of my favourite players to watch in the Premier League, and he's still got it in this career mode. He's fantastic. Still 82 stamina as well. You look at the agility and the balance. He can still do a very good job in this team. Again, similarly to the Paulo Dybala deal, on just 25 grand a week, this makes perfect sense. And as I've said, Bernardo Silva, one of my favourite players to watch in the Premier League. What a fantastic signing he was for Pep Guardiola, and what a servant to Manchester City. The former Monaco and Benfica man has now switched to Turin. And I think that's a really clever piece of business for this season. And on such a low wage, again, there's very little risk involved. I'm really happy that I managed to find him in the free agents pool. Another fantastic free agent signing. First couple of transfer bids here, and a couple of interesting ones as well. Borussia Dortmund looking to bring in Lorenzo Parola, but really happy with his first season in a Juventus shirt. Really solid backup option in that left-sided centre-back position. And an even more interesting one here, Leicester City looking to re-sign Yohan Bakayoko. Of course, Leicester are the club that we signed him from in this save. And although it wasn't the greatest of seasons last year from Yohan Bakayoko, I'm most certainly not looking to sell him after just 12 months in Turin. He will be staying here at Juventus. Another bid for Lorenzo Parola here. He seems in quite high demand. Chelsea coming in for our centre-back. But again, we're not going to raise much money if we sell him, and I don't really think we've got anyone on the transfer shortlist that we could replace him with for that sort of money. Another interesting bid, Christian Flores, not listed, but Cercle Bruges coming in for the Argentine, but going to keep him here this season. He may get a little bit more game time than he got last year. He's actually developing quite nicely, up to 76 overall now. Another bid, third advance, and the third bid we've had for Lorenzo Parola. This time is by Leverkusen, matching Borussia Dortmund, the Germans, in coming in for him. But again, Lorenzo's not going anywhere. We've also had a loan bid here for one of our young Italians, Max Romano. So we'll delegate that for a 1-year loan and hopefully get him out to Andorra. The loan bid for another of our youngsters, for now, Andrade. So again, we will delegate the loan for the Portuguese attacking midfielder. But another offer for Lorenzo Parola, this time from Manchester City. What is going on with Lorenzo Parola? Let me just take a look in the squad hub. I've not accidentally transfer listed him or something, because the amount of offers we're getting is ridiculous. Where is he, Lorenzo? Oh, of course. I completely forgot last year he submitted that transfer request. That's why we're getting so many bids for him. But he's still got basically 3 years left on his deal. I don't really want to sell him because he's a really good backup option. So I think I might just have to keep rejecting every bid that comes in. He is now happy at the club, so I don't really have any need to sell him. I think I'm just going to keep him here. Another loan bid here for one of our young Italians. This time it's Nicolo Ferrari, brother of Guido. We've got more footballing brothers. Again, we'll try and get him out on a 1-year loan. And we've also had another of the loan deals agreed for, I think it was Andrade. So a few more bids coming in. Unfortunately, the Andrade loan has been rejected. So again, we'll try and get him out somewhere else. Really interesting bid here for Nilos Kaya from Napoli, who want to take the Greek striker on loan. That is definitely not going to happen. We've also had a bid from one of our big rivals, Inter Milan, for Luca De Andrade, so we'll try and negotiate and get a little bit more for him. And Nicolo Ferrari as well looks as if he will hopefully be heading out on loan to Sporting Charleroi. So just accepting Inter Milan's bid of 20.4 million for Luca De Andrade. He is in the final year of his deal, so we couldn't squeeze any more money out of Inter Milan. And although I don't normally like selling to a direct rival, I actually quite like that one. He's not one of our star players, so I'm happy to let him leave and stay in Italy with Inter. Looks as if a couple of deals going through here. I think this might be a few of the youth players going out on loan. So Max Romano is heading to Andorra for a 12-month loan, and Nicolo Ferrari heading to Sporting Charleroi also for this season on a 12-month deal. Oh, and the Luca deal's gone through as well for 20.4 million. That's perfect. That's the deal I was waiting to go through before we made our first proper move of the window. So now that money for the Luca deal has gone through, I'd like to make my first move. And I said I wanted a new star centre-back. I've got loads of names on the shortlist, but I think I've whittled it down to 4 or 5 players that I'd like to go for. So I've got the captain, Anel, the main man from Sheffield United. We love Anel. He moved on to Manchester City, and I think he's in the final year of his contract. We can get him for around £60 million. So potentially a reunion with Anel. I've got Eder Militao, who's a rating higher, probably cost around the same amount, 60 million. He's 32, but I mean, he is just a fantastic centre-back on this game. We obviously beat Bayern Munich in the Champions League last year, and they didn't win the league in the Bundesliga. So Eder Militao could be a great fit. We've got Araujo, the former Barcelona man, now 31 years of age. Really tall, powerful centre-back. Again, 91 overall. Going to cost a little bit more, probably around 90 million. And my main reservation with Araujo is the 79 stamina is quite a bit lower than Militao, 85. And Anel at 88, and I want to sign a player who's going to be available every single week. So if he's going to cost us that much more, I'm a little bit more turned off by Araujo due to the low stamina. We've then also got, where is he? Josko Gvardiol, who again is another player I'm really interested in. Going to cost us a hell of a lot more than the other two that I mentioned, Militao or Anel. Stamina's pretty good at 82. He's quick, he's strong, he's left-footed as well, so can play on that left side next to Koundé, and he can also fill in at left back. But he's going to cost us around £85 million. So I think, yeah, they're the main targets that I've got. I think, to be honest, I'd probably rule Araujo out because he's going to cost us a lot more and the stamina puts me off. So it's kind of between Militao, Anel, and where's he gone? Josko Gvardiol. Now, Gvardiol is a couple of years younger than the other two, but he is going to cost us quite a bit more. I'm going to negotiate with Atletico Madrid and see if we strike up a deal that I think is worth it, then I'll go ahead. If not, I'll look at one of the other two. Let's see what sort of fee we can strike up with the Spaniards. I don't really have anyone to offer in a swap deal, so I'm going to go in quite low at 70 million plus a sell-on fee. And they want 83, which isn't horrendous with a 5% sell-on. Let's go back in at... Let's go 72.5. I think we can maybe get him for a little bit more, less, sorry. Yeah, 75 million. I think that's actually a pretty good deal for Josko Gvardiol. And I said he was my main target. If Simeone will agree to that, I think I'm happy to go ahead at 75 million. So it's a 4-year deal on 125 grand a week for Josko Gvardiol, and I think it's a really good bit of business for just 75 million pounds. 28 years of age, so sort of coming into his prime, still got room to grow. And although Militao was a rating higher, he was also 4 years older. So I think Gvardiol for 75 mil, what we would have paid for Anel or Eder Militao, is a really, really good signing. We've used Anel for 6 seasons in this save as well. And I am trying to make a conscious effort to try and use some different players. So Josko Gvardiol, who I've not used before, is in. Can also fill in at left back if needed as well. And I think that's a brilliant piece of business for just 75 million. Really, really happy with that signing. So we've got about 35 million in the budget, looking to sign a fullback who can play on either side. Now, I've got quite a few fullbacks on the shortlist. I think the players that I've whittled it down to, we've got Diogo Dalot of AC Milan. Obviously, they were champions last year. So I don't necessarily want to sign him, as he may not want to leave the champions. So yeah, difficult there, but the deal is really good for just 20 million, and we know that Dalot can play on the right and the left. Kadioglu's another one who has right back and left back as listed positions. I love the 90 stamina, really, really good on the ball. He's going to cost us around 30 million, so another good option. Serginho Dest, another right back, left back listed positions. 4-star, weak foot, high stamina, quick, up and down the line, able to play on both sides. I'm not actually too sure who my main choice is. I quite like the idea of Serginho Dest. 29 years of age, although the low defensive work rate does put me off a little bit. Kadioglu's someone that I've never used before. 4-star, high, and again, very, very good on the ball, as well as being able to play left back and right back. So quite tempted by Kadioglu as well. I really do like Diogo Dalot, but I'm not sure if signing him from Milan is necessarily realistic. I really don't know on Dalot. I'd love to bring him in. I think even at 31 years of age, he is a perfect fit. So guys, I've had a little bit of a think. I've been deliberating. Although my head is telling me that Diogo Dalot probably wouldn't switch Milan, I imagine due to the low asking prices in the final year of his contract. So maybe, I mean, we are the champions of Europe, so whether they won the Serie A or not, maybe it does make sense. I honestly don't know. I think he's the one my heart is telling me to go for. I'm a big fan of him in real life. Very good technically, high stamina, quick, will get up and down the pitch. I think if we can get him for 20.8 million, it's an absolute steal. So I'm going to see what kind of deal I can strike up with our rivals Milan. I'm going to lowball them a little bit and go in with my first bid of 18.5. Now, they want Lorenzo Parola, which I guess is kind of realistic because he's asked for the move. But again, I don't really want to sell him. So we'll go in at 18.75. And no, they're saying they want 26 million. So that is the market valuation. But the whole reason I wanted Dalot was because he was going to be cheaper. So okay, Milan will get back to us. We'll see what we can do regarding Dalot. I think in the meantime, what I might do is actually see what deal we can strike up for Ferdi Kadioglu. And as we're simming through to find out the outcome of our fullback dilemma, we see Hugo Barros heading out on loan, a young Portuguese goalkeeper. Quite like the look of him. So he'll be spending 12 months out on loan. And as we're simming through, well, I think this has made up our mind. The Dalot deal has been accepted. For Kadioglu, they came back with 30 million. So we probably could have got him for around sort of 25 to 27. But I think the Dalot deal just makes perfect sense. Maybe he's forcing the move. He's in the final year of his contract. I think he's been at Milan for quite a while. So maybe wants a change of scenery. So Diogo Dalot is in on a 3-year deal, 100 grand a week contract. So it is a pay rise from his Milan deal, and he is joining the European champions. Something in my head was telling me that I didn't like the deal from AC Milan after they pipped us to the league last year, but I'm convincing myself that it was a worthy deal. It's a financially fantastic deal for us, just £20 million. And at 31 years of age, he's still got a little bit of room to grow. And I'm really happy to bring in Diogo Dalot. He's the one that my heart told me to go after. Wow, interesting bid here from Paris Saint-Germain for Nicolo Fagioli. You might remember in the season finale when we were doing our review, I said this is one to keep an eye out on. He's got, I think, a year or maybe 2 years left on his deal. Paris Saint-Germain have come calling. Now, you remember we sold Mason Greenwood to PSG in the last summer transfer window. Similar situation where he wasn't listed, but we had a big monster bid. I think if we can get over 100 million, that'll give us enough to sign our star winger and potentially even bring in another backup midfielder as well. I said I wasn't that impressed with Nicolo last season, so I'm going to negotiate with PSG and see how much they're willing to pay. So I don't want them to walk out of the negotiation, but I'm going to ask for 115, which is a little bit ballsy. And wow, okay. PSG say yes. Well, Inter Milan have jumped on the bandwagon and also now thrown in a bid of 93.3 million. I think for Inter, seeing as they're one of our big domestic rivals, I'm going to ask for more. So they're going to have to pay 125 million if they want to sign Nicolo. Well, after a lot of toing and froing, Inter Milan say yes. So they're willing to pay an extra 10 million for him. It's basically just a rivalry fee. I'm happy whichever destination he chooses because I'd quite like to keep him out of Italy. But if he does go there, then it means that we get the extra 10 million. So we'll see where Nicolo ends up settling for. Well, I think this is going to be the sale of Nicolo. And there he goes. So he's leaving the team. I believe he's a youth academy product of Juventus, but he's moving on to better his career and he's gone to Inter. Wow, okay, Nicolo Fagioli off to Inter Milan. I mean, it's a fantastic sale of £125 million. I think we could have got slightly more, but I mean, he's only valued at 75.5. We got like 50 million more than he's valued at. It's a great sale and that gives us more than enough money to reinvest. So with 125 million now in the budget, I think we definitely have enough to go after a star winger. I am a big fan of Yeremy Pino. He can play on the left and the right or through the middle. Stamina's decent. 90 finishing, 91 dribbling, 89 ball control. He is absolutely rapid and I am a big fan. I really like Chaibi, but I now can't bring him in. He's not your natural sort of winger at 6 foot, but high work rates. He's got a little bit of pace about him. Again, the mental stats are really good, and technically this guy is fantastic with 91 finishing, good passing, good ball control, good dribbling. So I would have been interested in him. Xavi Simons is really tempting as he can play anywhere across that front three, and I do think he would be like a real world-class signing. Looks as if his contract may be up as well. I think the other player that is really standing out to me is this man, Gabriel Martinelli, still at Arsenal in the save. But as an inside forward on that left-hand side, obviously not had the best season for Arsenal in real life, but I mean, he is just fantastic. He's a real global name at this stage of the save at 29 years of age. 90 finishing, fantastic dribbling. And I think actually for that left-hand side, I'm leaning more towards Martinelli. He's going to cost us less than Xavi Simons would. And that'll actually leave us enough money to bring in another player as well on top of Martinelli. I think that he must be in the final year of his deal because they're saying we can get him for around 60 million, which seems very, very cheap. Now they're after Onyedika, but I'm going to go back in with 60. See how much Mikel Arteta really wants for him. Wow. Wow, okay. I'm going to hardball here. I'm going to say, look, 60 million. He's out of contract at the end of the season. You know you need to sell him. And for 60 million, Gabriel Martinelli, that could be a fantastic piece of business. So Gabriel Martinelli is in on a 3-year, 185 grand a week contract. And for just 60 million pound, that is an absolute steal in the market that we live in. And I think he's got loads of room to grow. Still 29 years of age, so it's sort of coming into his prime. And yeah, I think he's the ideal fit for that left-hand side. He's absolutely rapid, brilliant finisher, really good on the ball as well with the high dribbling, good passing. And I think he's the marquee signing that could really push us to the title this season in the Serie A and add some goals from the players behind Dusan Vlahovic. Obviously, he's our main source of goals, but I didn't feel we got enough from the players in behind him, especially on the flanks, and I'm hoping Martinelli is going to bring that this season. So that signing of Gabriel Martinelli has left around 56.75 million in the budget. I think for now I'm going to hold fire on any more signings. If you do have any recommendations, then let me know down in the comments. I think what I'm going to do is sim through to the Super Cup final where we will be facing Lazio, and we'll play that to close out today's episode. And interesting one here, before we get to that game, we've loaned out another of the young players for now, Andrade. But it's actually to Mayalbi once again. So I think he now makes it 3 players that we've got out on loan at this team. And I have no idea where they're even based. But it's Diogo Di Carvalho, who's on loan at Mayalbi, Andrade, and also Barbosa. So we've sent 3 Portuguese youngsters there. And it just sort of got me thinking about the potential of having like feeder clubs in career mode. That'd be so cool if you could set up like feeder clubs and you could send players to a specific club out on loan. I think that'd be really cool. And we've sort of got our own feeder club here. So guys, we have made it to the UEFA Super Cup. Bit of a glorified friendly, but we'll be taking on an Italian rival, Lazio, as they won the Europa League last year. So we'll jump into this game to close out today's episode. It's been a bit of a mad one. I think we've done really well in the transfer window. And yeah, we'll close out with the Super Cup against Lazio, Forza Juventus. And here goes the captain, Jude Bellingham. To Matthews, good to have him back. Need to keep him fit this season. And now Bakayoko still waiting for his first goal. Oh, and he's so close, and Dusan on the rebound. Can't quite turn it in. Still waiting for that first goal in a Juventus shirt for Johan Bakayoko, and he nearly got it in the first game of the new season. Here's Martinelli. This has been a good start from Juventus. And Martinelli waits for Parisi. Nice build up. And Fabiano to Johan. Oh, what a way to get your first goal. Hit the woodwork just a few moments ago. And Johan Bakayoko with the overhead kick. It's a fantastic way to get it. He's had to wait a while. And it comes in the Super Cup. Gave it away, but then wins it back. Martinelli to Dusan. And back into Bernardo Silva. Lovely take. Oh, brilliant dribbling. And Bernardo Silva, what a goal. And that is why I signed him. I absolutely love this man. Such good ball control. Such a clever footballer. Dedic on the deck to Koundé. Now Jude. Looks for Johan. Brings it down brilliantly. And still has it, Johan. Oh, it's brilliant. And Bakayoko, it's 3. It was a little bit lucky the way it fell to him. But Johan Bakayoko, after waiting a year to score his first goal for Juve, now has 2. Bernardo's corner, outswinging. Ambrosini attacks it. And well, this has been the perfect season opener for Juventus. Of course, not the first league game, but it's a nice way to bet ourselves into the new campaign. New signings have settled fantastically, and it's going to be a big victory for Juve. That should just about do it. And Juventus will be lifting the Super Cup to kick off the season, and it was the perfect display. So that is where we will leave it for today's episode, guys. UEFA Super Cup champions, and we'll be returning in the next episode as we kick off the Serie A campaign. Of course, AC Milan looking to defend their title, but after our brilliant recruitment in this summer, we are gunning for that Serie A trophy. We've still got around 55 million left in the budget, so if you do have any transfer recommendations, then please do let me know. And I've actually just had a look at the fixtures where we have a really, really tough start to the campaign. with visits of Roma and Lazio before trips to the San Siro to take on both Inter Milan and AC Milan in our first 5 games of the campaign. It's going to be a brilliant episode next time around, where we will close out the transfer window and kick off that Serie A campaign. So make sure not to miss it, and I will catch you for it very soon. Peace.